Hey there, guys. It's another Black Projects 51 update. I Yesterday I just was sitting here. I did a little bit of work on the TR3E Echo uh, triangular UFO. Just a few little nitnoy things, and I was kind of feeling off yesterday again, so I wasn't horribly motivated. And then I was sitting here staring at my shelves with a lot of unfinished projects going on, and I just, I got to stay busy. This retirement thing has not really squared itself with me right yet. Some people, how could you not be enjoying your retirement? It's not that I'm not enjoying it. It's my whole life and routine has been changed, and I'm just finding it hard not reporting to a job every day. So, but you know, that all being said, so I was looking up on my shelves and I saw my two toy figures that I bought for the express purpose of doing what I'm about to show you, which is take them and heavily modify them and make them not toyish, make them look as realistic as I can. I'm not going to go crazy on, you know, doing so much on this, but as far as paint work and stuff, and you know, I am I'm going to do my own thing, and this figure's not going to be canon at all. It's going to be whatever I want to make it. Um, so here I got it. Let me see here. I'm going to stand him up. Yeah, the head still goes on, even though what I had to do is this thing sealed shut, and this plastic is a very hard plastic, and cutting it open right back here, this area right back here, and routing lights and stuff uh, has been a challenge, and I kept, even though the panel, the top, little sliver of it busted off. I glued it back together, sanded it smooth. This panel I had to cut off, though it's undersized right now. Uh, when I get this thing done and I'm able to close it up, then that's what I'm going to do. Just close it up. Like I said, this is more of a fun project, though. It's been way more labor intensive than I anticipated. And what I've done with the head, I've closed the bottom of it because it just looks stupid not having the bottom closed up. So uh, when I paint this thing, and what I'm going to do, there's a buttload of seams on here, but once I get the lighting in, and I do want to reposition at least maybe one arm and a leg. Uh, our friend over at uh, crud, I'm brain farting. My apologies. Eagle Models, Rusty, that's his name. He did these things, and he's the one that inspired me. So I want to give him kudos. So Rusty over at Eagle Models, nice guy, does a lot of interesting builds. Gotten into a lot of 3D printing and stuff, and doing kit mods and stuff. So Rusty's a good time, easygoing guy, mellow, and he gives a good presentation. So you might want to check Rusty out and see what he's been doing with these figures. But I thought, like he stated in his video, it's an inexpensive good time. These things, I guess, were running at between $12 and $20 back when he made his video. I haven't looked at them. I got both my um, uh, figures, which let me pause because I'm going to grab the other one just to show you the next project. So, anyways, I got this guy, which um, he's going to get repainted too. And he's got I guess, a button or something. I'm not sure how he activates, but he does make sounds. But I'm going to be disconnecting that because you can see he's got screw holes and a battery compartment, and I don't want any of that stuff. That stuff's, yeah, like I said, that would get annoying after a while. So he's going to be a project too, and his movement is limited to his heads, his arms moving straight up, and his feet back back and forth. And he needs to shut up. Anyways, so there's that. But back to this guy. Like I said, I chose to close up the bottom of the head. And as you can see where I got this LED, oh, and I put some paper towel up in there to diffuse the light. Um, and I could go ahead and take a moment. I'm going to pause though and hook the battery up just to show you if it'll show up on camera. I don't know. Just to show you the lighting effect in the eyeballs. So, anyways, yeah, here he is. I got his head sitting on there. I got the battery pack hooked up to it. So that's what the lighting effect looks like on the eyeballs. I still got to do the arc reactor, which I drilled this hole out, and I've got it with, and I put a clear piece in there for the arc reactor, but I put a coating of this liquid mask on it, so when I prime it, it's not going to get painted over. So yeah, but there's still a bunch of work to be done on this thing. Getting the LED down to the arc reactor positioned correctly is going to be a bit of a task. I think what I'm going to have to do is cut a piece of styrene, maybe a half-inch wide, something fairly rigid, mount the LED to the end of that, and then up here towards the shoulder area internally, I'll affix that thing, that piece of styrene that has the LED on it, and glue it in position to where it rests right behind there. And yeah, so that's what I'm going to do. But he's going to be done in a black and grays and silver paint scheme. Um, and I may even try using some of that chrome paint I got. But, chrome just doesn't go well with fighting war machines. So, yeah, you, of course, when you have a technology like this that's represented in the movies, doesn't matter what color it is because it's so highly lethal and hard to stop that, being camouflaged is going to provide real benefit, and certainly not to the enemies that get, against good and evil, that timeless battle that we've all been witnessing our entire lives. But even in the sci-fi genre, this kind of stuff plays out too. All the characters have script, and you know, and it's what gives these things life, if you will, not literally, but figuratively speaking, obviously. So, and these little cheesy things, I'm not sure what exactly these things are, um, and if they're even worthwhile salvaging. Um, but I may, in concert uh, with some other weapons I'm going to make myself, go ahead and, if I figure out what these things are, doing some research, then I may include at least one of them, but probably both of them. I don't know. Because it's got these obnoxious holes in the side of the forearms on both sides. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I might make up some weaponry and put on there that might give a better look, and I might incorporate these into it, make it my own thing. I don't know. It's that's why I love the hobby. It's You got to think things out, especially if you want to make it believable, especially dealing with sci-fi, and have a good time with it. Think outside the box, get creative. But one thing that you have to be careful in with kit building, and especially if you're kit bashing and junk bashing, you don't want to make things so busy and so much detail that it just it takes away from the main theme. You just want to give a cool representation of this. I think his name's War Machine. I think that's what his actual title was in the movie. But we want to make Mr. War Machine here is interesting, and it'll be another version of the same genre, basically. Like there might be multiple units of these things, hypothetically. And so I'm going to make one with that in mind, that, Stark Industries sold a bunch of these suits to the military, and they all have their own unit um, designations and stuff. And that's probably kind of the kind of theme I'm going to go with. And since I don't have a capital on space in my studio here in shelving, the display stand's going to have to stay relatively small but interesting. And I'll just think about it and see what I want to, how I want to proceed on a base for it, you know, to attach it to. Um, what else? I'll probably be cutting both arms and repositioning them, and probably make him like Rusty did. That part I may follow suit on and make him in a like he's in the middle of a stride. So um, I'm going to review Rusty's video and see how he did his repositioning of arm and legs, um, and maybe follow suit exactly, or do something similar but different, because I want to maintain a lot as much of this detail where I have to reposition joints. I want to maintain as much of that detail as possible. And the stuff I can't maintain, I guess I'll scratch build it afterwards. But, you know, I just think that, you know, these things can be uh, fun. It's a good build. It's a good process to take yourself through. Um, the lighting works pretty well. I don't know how it works if I try to turn it. Well, still, the light source is still visible. And what's good about how I did it is it doesn't interfere with positioning the head. Um, and then closing it up, I'll have to light block it on the bottom, but it should turn out because, this thing's going to be primered first. And then once I primer it, that'll really show me all the seams good. I mean, I can see them right now, but I'm going to put a primer coat on it and then go ahead and um, uh, wet sand that gently. I don't know. I'm going to probably use Stynylrez primer on this because the Stynylrez primer, it dries like an eggshell finish. You don't even have to sand it unless you have a glitch with your airbrush and it's spattering. But even that lays out fairly decent. And, it's a war machine, right? So it doesn't have to be perfectly beautiful, and the paint's going to get scuffed up, and there will be some weathering done on it, and probably maybe a little battle damage here and there. But I want to make it as fun and as interesting for you guys as possible. And, of course, me going through the process of doing the build or modification to this toy figure because it does the basic detail on it's good. It doesn't compare to some of these aftermarket metal ones you can buy that are 3 feet tall, and they got every bell and whistle and detail that the war machine in the movie had. So yeah, you can go that route. I will probably do a little bit of extra detailing and modifications. But one thing I noticed is I think their thrusters, like here on his knees, right here, those are supposed to be thrusters from what I can gather. So, and they're in the back. It would make sense that he would have multiple uh, vector control thrusters on the suit to because it flies. So, but this kit, unfortunately, well, it's not a kit. This toy, without just trashing it completely and having to rebuild it on almost every level, would be a hard thing to pull off if I wanted to incorporate all the lighting effects. And honestly, I just don't want to give that much time. If it's something I can get to easily, then I may do it. We'll just have to see. Um, Using the LEDs and in something like this, like I was telling you how I have to do the arc reactor, I'm going to have to kind of take a bent, long, maybe half-inch wide strip of, 50 thousandths uh, thick styrene and put the LED on the end of it, put it down there at an angle, and then hopefully, eh, I have an idea of how I can do this. It's going to be a trick. I, you know, it'd be cool if I could put like just even, a quarter-inch deep, maybe half-inch wide little tab of styrene right below the arc reactor and just rest a LED there and then run the wires up. I don't know. Like I said, it's something that's got my mind going, and I just want to do the best I can on here. And this this thing, like I said, it lends itself to a lot. Um, we'll just have to see. Anyways, guys, I hope you find it interesting. Like I said, this is what I got now, just running to his head, which you can see his eyes. His eyes are currently glowing. But I'll shut them off. Um, just a helpful tip, and you may know this already. If you're buying LEDs, you can buy LEDs of varying sizes. Um, 3 millimeter and 5 millimeter are the most popular, but you can get them in 6 millimeter and use those as well. But get them to where you have a voltage range, like from 3 volts to 12 or 9 to 12, because that way, if you put a 9-volt battery in, it'll run it. Or if you have a 12-volt power source or whatever, however you get your lighting effects power. So, think it out, plan it, go on eBay, go on Amazon in hobbies and stuff, and or do a YouTube search on what other people have been doing modifying these figures. You'll get a lot of good inspiration and help. And like I said, I I saw Rusty do this there at Eagle Models, and with both of these figures, and he really did a good job. And it just looked like a lot of fun, and so I decided to do it. Well, Dave, you got so many models that you've started and they're not finished. Yes, that's correct. But I want to remind you guys that I had a layoff for about a decade, 10 years, probably more than 10, where I wasn't doing anything. And before that I was good. I was doing really nice work, and then I had a house fire in '05, and it burned up everything I had, and you know, took the wind out of my sails, and I've been slowly trying to get back into the hobby. And I decided, you know what? If I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this right. I'm going to do it big. So I want to monetize the channel at some point, get some advertisers. I know that's a bit annoying, but I just the bare minimum. I don't want to burden anybody with that stuff because I find it annoying as well. So just remember, I'm a retired guy. I'm trying to make a little extra cash doing something that I love doing, and that's scale model building. Um, Also, as I sort my garage out here and get it squared away, I might be able to take some of my extraneous stuff that's taking up shelf space and put it out there. That's my goal because I do need to free up more room in here. I like my big rolling toolbox, which you usually see in the background when I don't have my spiffy background in place. Yeah, no, I'm not really in a space station orbiting Earth, but hey, it's a cool effect. I saw that backdrop on, I guess it was Amazon or eBay. I can't recall. I think it was eBay. And I like this one. I thought I could have a lot of fun with it, and I have. And so, yeah, uh, let me see what else. Yeah, this little panel, I didn't want to try to fabricate it, and this plastic is pretty brittle. If you torque on it too much, it's a very hard plastic, but as soon as you start putting a cutting wheel to it, though, it burrs up. The plastic melts and turns into all these little masses of little burrs of plastic, from the heat of cutting it. So you got to do a lot of cleanup. And there's, you know, this panel lost about an eighth of an inch on every edge gap from cutting it. So I'm going to have to get creative, probably put some little pieces of sheet styrene around the perimeter as little lips that I can rest this onto. And then glue it down hard, fill it with gap filling CA, and then sand that down, and the rest of it, you know, the good old uh, Bondo glazing putty. I've tried all kinds of putties. Honestly, I tried the Tamiya ones. There's another one by a different company I never heard of. Um, but the problem I ran in with those is they're so soft even after they dry. They sand extremely easy, but there's not enough substance to them where you won't over sand and then you'll have to do it all over again. This Bondo glazing putty is made for automotive application, so it's got to be durable. So to me, it's a better choice to use. Uh, in some of my bigger projects in the past, I've literally pulled out the Bondo, the big gallon can in the hardener, and mixed up that and used it on some larger projects. But I have none of those now because they all got destroyed in the fire. But um, yeah, so um, I'm going to be getting knee surgery probably within the next month and a half. And when I do, there's going to be a period of time where I will have to limit my walking completely. So it'll be, um, I will be in here in the studio doing projects because, you know, they're going to want to give me all kinds of pain meds. And up front, I may take them, but I really don't like taking that crap. But I will just to be functional. Um, but those pain pills, I'm such a lightweight, period, with any chemical substance. So I always have been. I just want to have my recovery time be as enjoyable and productive as possible because I will be very limited on what I can do. I late last night and early this morning, my knee popped out of joint, so it's something that's serious that I've got to get taken care of. So, how much it's going to interrupt me and what I'm doing here on the channel, I don't know. I'll keep you guys posted just because I think it's the polite and courteous thing to do. If you got subscribers, you need to be responsible to them, in my humble opinion, as far as providing what you say you're going to provide. And what I try to provide here is a good and interesting time out of your day when you're watching, and you know, maybe give you some inspiration as well. Um, I am, well, in the last few days, as you guys know, I have done, a significant amount of work on the Nebula class USS. What is it? I can't remember. Prometheus, or it's the Star Trek ship, the Nebula class, that I've gotten some good progress done on that this week. Um, my progress on some of the other things, besides the triangular UFO diorama, that one I'm again in a position now where I have to think it out. I look at it, I see what I've got, and then other day I showed you I went through all my Greebly bins and was looking for uh, interesting parts that I could add to it. Way more than I probably need, but I want, seeing them will inspire me and tell me how I can use it. So I got that, and this X-wing, I the big 22-inch toy conversion of a fairly accurate um, representation of a X-wing that I've lengthened and going to make it. I'm not doing a conventional paint scheme. It's going to be shades of blacks and grays and stuff like that. And whatever else I find interesting. And I'm really thinking about putting, instead of the red stripe, a bright blue stripe. And it's going to kind of be like this is a classified wing of the rebel faction. And, they got special operations pilots that fly these highly classified missions, even bigger things than going into the Death Star and blowing it up, or whatever. Just something different. I'm not going to do what everybody else is doing. It's been done ad nauseum out there. So here at Black Projects 51, you're going to get some takes on some of these genres that you may not have thought of. And Hulkbuster agrees. So, anyways, I as I make these videos, I try to think that, there may be young people watching. And so I want to keep it as much as I possibly can, um, very child friendly. And not that that's hard for me because it isn't. But yeah, I just want to make it fun for the little guys too, because I know a lot of the stuff that I talk about on here could probably put them to sleep, which it's their nap time. There you go, parents. You get this special benefit. You just want your kids to take a nap, just set them in front of one of my videos. I don't know. That's not what I want it to be, but hey, you never know. So I just hope you guys are all doing well. I wanted to follow up with you on some of the projects. You know, I do have a lot of things in progress, what we call WIP, work in progress, WIP. So um, I'm just gonna. I've just decided, you know what? To keep it interesting, I'm just gonna do whatever I feel like doing. I'm retired. Um, this wasn't on my list to do anytime soon. I was thinking maybe a year or so out, but I've had these things for about 4 years, so they've been collecting dust. Um, so yeah, that's where I'm at, guys. I'm I'm going to just try to do the best I can with what I got here and make things interesting for you and fun. So, with that, I'm going to let you guys go. Um, you know, I just try to schedule my day upon how I'm feeling because whether I'm well rested or not, and that really determines how much progress I get on any project. So, I don't want to be in a compromised state and not be able to put my best thoughts and efforts into these projects. Because when I'm done, I just want you guys to go, wow, man, Dave, good job. That looks cool. I, I never thought of that or whatever. So also just, taking inexpensive toys like this of a theme that you like and modifying it and trying to make it more realistic and adding electronics and stuff, or partially using like I'm going to do on War Machine here. Um, I'm going to make him different as well, though I do like his mediocre paint job, the color scheme. Um, I may not deviate too far from that other than maybe making the pattern slightly different just to be interesting, and maybe adding some more gear to them to, you know, scratch build some things, comm devices on the sides of the helmet, or, you know, antenna with a backpack, or, you know, just something cool, you know, make it more, a little more busy and interesting. So with that, guys, uh, Black Projects 51 signing out. I hope something I shared with you put a smile on your face. All right, that's it. Peace.